guys, hope you all are doing well. I'm Vinny, and in this video, I'll be talking about what building is and some tips on how to face an enemy using the building. Now before I go on about building, I want to give some tips about your game and controller settings. You'll find the settings by pressing options and then press R1 until you reach this icon and then press X to select settings. You don't have to change anything in this tab unless you need to make the game brighter or if you need a certain color mode. This tab has some settings that will help your gameplay feel smoother and faster. There are explanations on the side for each of these, so I'll just go through which are optional and necessary. You don't need toggle sprint if you have sprint by default. Sprinting is basically running. You're gonna want to run a lot, especially if you're running away from the storm. Which I realized I haven't explained about the storm yet. I'll do it later in the video. This means that while you're running, you can't reload, which is something you wouldn't want. But you can have auto doors open on. This saves you from lifting your thumb off the analog stick, especially if someone is chasing you or if there's people around you. You can have this on or off, it doesn't make a lot of difference. This also doesn't make a difference whether you have it on or off. This is helpful, especially if you see someone and need to tell your teammates quickly. This also saves you from letting go of the analog stick. Preferred item slot is where you can configure which slots have which types of items. This is helpful, especially if you're in a fight or if someone lands on you while you're looting up. You can expect it to be in the dedicated spot you configured and fight the guy without the hassle of your weapons being in the wrong slot. You can configure your heals to the right in preferred item slots anyway, but just have this on in case it doesn't do it for some reason. Reset building choice is when you build something, and if your last build choice was say a stair, the next time you go in build mode it will reset to a wall since it's the first build choice. This is optional to have either on or off. Disable pre-edit is whenever you're in build mode and are placing something, you don't go into edit mode to be able to create say a window edit pre-hand. This was added for those that are insane with building and editing, as it helps not accidentally going into pre-edit mode while placing builds. If you're a beginner, you don't have to turn it on, but if you want to get better at building and editing, then it is recommended that you turn it on. This is helpful for intense situations where you need to build a lot, especially if your health is low and need to get away from the person. Confirm edit on release is when you edit a build and instead of having to press confirm, as soon as you let go of your selecting bind, you will confirm it right away. This is highly helpful on controller. Contextual tips is just tips that appear on the side of your screen, helpful if you're playing for the first time. And also, if some feature is added in the game, it will tell you how to do the feature, like sliding that was added this chapter. Now these ones don't really do anything to the game. If you're someone that likes it when you push your analog stick up and it goes down in game, then these are the settings you want to have. Turbo delete is for creative mode where you hold down delete and it will delete everything in its way. Oh, tap to search is something that is useful. My bad, I just saw this. This is basically when instead of holding down to search a chest or revive a teammate throughout their duration, you can just tap your search button and it will let it go through without touching anything else. This doesn't improve your game, but if you're tired or you just don't want to hold on the button for whatever reason, you can have this on. These last three are basically what type of games you want Fortnite to save the replays of in the replay folder. This is used for watching how people in your match played. You can see if someone cheated, how someone got you, or even see that insanely good shot that you got. This is the HUD stuff that shows on your screen, like the map, the names, health, slots, and all that. You can choose which ones to show and which ones to not. HUD scale is how big or small all the options are on screen. This tab is for mouse and keyboard players, specifically the mouse side. Now I'm not a keyboard and mouse player, so I don't know what you should have here, but I'll try to find some links about mouse and keyboards and put them in the description if you want to have a look. Now these are the controller settings. I'm not showing you my settings as they're more for when you're used to the gameplay of Fortnite, but the settings on screen are the settings that I was on when I started playing. Now quick note, the way the settings work have changed since Chapter 2 Season 1, so it may not perform as well as it did for me. You can change the settings to your liking anyway, especially when you get used to the game style of Fortnite. I'm just showing you what helped me to learn how to play Fortnite. Controller auto run, as explained in the description on the side. You click your analog stick twice so it runs by itself. Controller auto run only works if you have sprint bind on your analog stick, which you won't be having. I'll explain why when we get to controller binding. Build immediately doesn't do anything whether you have it on or off, so just leave it. You don't need edit hold time at all. This makes your gameplay really bad. I'll explain more when I get to the controller bindings. This option allows you to see all of the advanced settings that are below. Most of these are explained on the side, so I'm just going to scroll down. Okay, now this look dampening time can sound confusing. I didn't know what it was at the start, but when I took it off, it made my playstyle a lot better until Season 8 Chapter 2. This kinda slows down your look when you push your analog stick all the way. Say you put 0.2 here, it'll take 0.2 seconds before it'll reach the look sense you have set on. This tab is about your audio. You've got your volume levels up here. 3D headphones is allowing 5.1 sound, which basically means 5 speakers. 2 angled at the front on the left and right side, 2 angled at the back on both sides as well, and 1 that is right in front of you. This helps to distinguish where players are based on where you hear the sound coming from. Subtitles is subtitles appears when events are going on or in game challenges. Visual sound effects are what appears on your screen as a reflection of surround sound. This is helpful if you don't have a 3D headphone or if you can't distinguish sounds well enough. This is also really helpful for far away, especially if you can't hear it, but it can get confusing when it's up front. Voice chat is when you're talking to people in your party or in-game, and licensed audio is where you can mute or play copyright music like the TikTok emotes that are copyrighted or the radio stations that play in the car. This is just the keyboard side of the mouse and keyboard players. Again, I'll find some links about this and put it in the description. Controller binds. Now if you've never configured your controller binds, then you'll be seeing this screen. These binds aren't the best, especially if you want to get better, so onward to the custom tab. Now if you haven't done this, now is the time. You must change this bind right now. Put this on switch mode and then this one on edit because you don't need this as you have auto sprint on from before. This is a must do because when you switch from build mode to weapons, that edit hold time I was talking about will mess you up and you may never be able to exit build mode without triggering the edit. This is going to save you a big hassle and will help you learn better about building a huge lot. Also, you don't have to have this edit bind exactly on the right analog trigger. I initially had it on the left directional pad, which is good if you want to do one edit at a time. But if you want to be good at building and editing, then left analog stick is a good bind to have. Now most of my other binds are default binds from Computer Pro, but you can change any of them to suit your playstyle. And this last tab is just about account privacy kind of stuff. So that's all the settings you'll need before you start building. Now I didn't know that it'll take this long to explain the settings, so in next video I'll talk about building. See you then!